Hello, my name's Richard Collins. I'm a member of Above Bar Church. Thanks for joining me for Stories in Lockdown. Today I'm joined by Lanre Akinyegun and Chris Ward. Lanre is a chemical engineer who works for ExxonMobil in the Fawley Refinery. At Fawley, they produce all kinds of petroleum-based products as well as petrochemicals. Lanre has been there for 14 years in both a technical role and also a commercial role. He enjoys reading, and he tells me that his football playing days are now over. So Lanre, where did you play on the field? Were you a striker?
No, I was a goalkeeper.
Were you?
I was a goalkeeper. Safe hands.
Very good. Okay. So Chris is the owner of Vermont Systems, a small IT services company based in Chandler's Ford. They help small to medium-sized companies and charities with their IT. And you can see Chris around town, either on his bike or running. You're quite a runner, aren't you, Chris?
It keeps me sane and gets me out of the house, yeah.
Very good. So first of all, where do you both live? And how long have you been at Above Bar Church? Lanre, let's start with you.
So we live in Tottenham, and we've been in Above Bar Church since 2006. So that makes 14 years.
14 years. What about you, Chris?
I moved to Southampton to live permanently in 1998. Took a job with IBM. I'd done a gap year there, and it seemed easier to just accept the job to come back rather than fill out that pile of application forms on my desk. So thought I'd rock up, do a couple of years here, and then probably move on. But you know how the story goes. You meet a girl, settle down. What's that? 22 years later, the job's different now. I don't work for IBM anymore, but the girl's still the same, fortunately.
And she is lovely, I must say.
That's right, and we've got two more lovely girls in the house.
Yeah, lovely. Fantastic. So I want to ask you about your work lives during the last few months. Lanre, for you, working at the Fawley Refinery, have you had to go in each day, or have you been able to work from home?
Yes, I've been fortunate to be able to work from home pretty much since the start of lockdown. So even though I am based at the Fawley Refinery, my current role covers the other sites we have around Europe. So before lockdown, I do a lot of travel to other countries in Europe and sometimes in the US and Asia. But luckily, since lockdown started, I can do my work from home. It just means a lot of teleconferences and Zoom calls and being on the phone and lots of emails. So yeah, I've not gone in since into the refinery in my office since the start of lockdown.
But how have you found that, doing so many Zoom calls and everything on the computer? What's that been like for you?
Initially, it was new and exciting to just wake up, have a quick shower, no travel time, get on a computer. It was exciting, but after a couple of days, the excitement wore off, and I kind of plodded through, and then it got to a point where it was just drudgery, kind of repetitive, same thing every day. Right. But now I think I'm kind of in a balance. We've been given lots of guidance from work, kind of work in short bursts, take lots of breaks. So I've learned to manage it now. So I'm coping well where I am currently.
And what about your business, the business model for petrochemicals? I mean, has it been affected by the pandemic?
Massively, yes. Yeah. Massive change because of lockdown. People are not traveling, therefore demand for fuel products has gone down. The biggest impact is aviation fuel for flying. People are no longer flying, so there's no demand for jet fuel, as we call it. But you cannot just stop making jet fuel because they all come together. Right. So it's just kind of balancing the portfolio. But what's been good is that the pandemic has needed some petrochemicals to help fight it. So hand sanitizers, for instance. We make some of the base products for that. So massive ramp up in the base chemical for hand sanitizers and things like face shields and face masks. So all those things, which in a way is a double-edged sword. Before the pandemic, it was all about environmental. We need to cut down. But in some quarters, people forget that when they need the PPE, where the building blocks come from, the petrochemical industry.
Yeah.
So massive change, rebalancing. The industry will be impacted for, I don't know, I can't predict, a year or two or more as we rebalance things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Chris, for you, I know that there's a story in how you ended up owning your company. I'm really interested in how you took on the challenge. Tell us a little bit about that.
Wow. So I was working at IBM. It was good, better than I expected. So I ended up staying there a lot longer than I'd thought, but was working away a lot, on projects in all sorts of places, working for oil companies a lot actually, and banks and things around the world, and which was brilliant, really good fun. But when I got married, and then we decided got time to start thinking about a family and all that sort of stuff. I started thinking about that I realized I didn't really want to be away all the time. There was two sorts of people that worked on the projects, people that enjoyed it, and they sort of had a second life where they got up to all sorts of mischief. And people that really quite resented it, but their pension plan was too good to leave and all that sort of stuff. And I thought, well, I don't want to end up in either of those situations really. Right. And sort of other routes in IBM weren't sort of working out for me. So I decided to leave there, and I got introduced to the guys that owned and ran Vermont Systems, which is the company that I now run, and went to work there as an employee, sort of working really as a sort of glue between their technical people and the client, sort of as an interface, an interpreter, almost, because I didn't really want to be a technical person anymore at that point. And anyhow, I got fascinated by how the business worked as I was solving these problems that the customers were sort of letting me know about, that things weren't getting done fast enough or in the right way or whatever else. And I was sort of digging in to figure out why that was, and got really fascinated. But then 2008, this was back in 2007, 2008 came around, the big financial crash. And the business, I learned the business really wasn't in a good state to survive that. And by this point, I got really friendly with the guys that owned and run the company, and learned a lot from them or with them. But I actually learned that they probably weren't really up to standard. So I took the unusual and potentially bold step of recommending to my boss that he wasn't really fit to lead a company through this recession. And,
that is very bold.
Really should sell it to a competitor or something, which he tried to do but couldn't. And effectively, to cut a long story short, he ended up sort of palming it off on me, sort of naive, young.
You've made quite a success of it, though, haven't you, over the last?
Well, I mean, it's been, I mean, success is it's always a relative word, isn't it? But I've learned a tremendous amount about it, and it was never an ambition of mine to own a company, to go into business, to run a company, but we've gone. It's been a roller coaster ride, and I've learned a tremendous amount about leading a team and making it all work.
Yeah. Tell us about the last few months, though, because I mean, as an IT company, does that mean that all of your guys are all just working from home then?
Yeah. I mean, that bit was easy for us. We were well set up for that, so that really wasn't a challenge at all.
Have you had more work or less work over the last few months?
Yeah, I mean, it's really a good question. So the first sort of 4 weeks after lockdown started, sort of the week before maybe, and then the sort of 3 weeks afterwards, sort of up until Easter weekend, it was just a tremendous amount of work as we helped. Some of our clients were well set up to work from home, others not at all, and it had never been part of their plans at all. And so we had to figure out how to take 2,000 people and get them working from home, which normally that would be sort of 6 months worth of projects. And we had to get it all done in sort of 3 or 4 weeks. And so it was brilliant. Wow. I mean, it was tremendous fun. The team were, my team were just astonishing. The way they just applied themselves to the work, got focused, got the job done. I think they loved it. I think they loved, obviously the nurses, doctors, care workers, delivery drivers. All of these guys are the real, they were putting themselves in real danger. But I guess after that, it was probably IT people, that sort of were really called upon to keep the world running at that point. And so I think we really enjoyed that, actually. I think that sense of purpose, and the guys thrived on it, and so it was super busy. What was really the hard bit, actually, was coming off the back of that, when over that Easter weekend, it was that long 4-day weekend, and it was like the whole world stopped and sort of took a breath, and which was a well-needed break for everyone, because the guys were really, they'd been putting in some long hours, but everyone came back, and it was like just flat, and the energy had gone, that urgency had gone. Everyone was basically set up now. Everyone was working fine. We'd got through the hump, through the surge, and that actually, for me, that was where the challenge started, because reacting's easy when people are just telling you what to do. Sort of, we just got to get this done, and it's easy. That's just do the work, right? Just figure it out. But actually, leading, I think I've learned. One of the things I've really learned through this is that leading is about what's important, that we should be doing, that no one's asking us to do, no one's making us do it. Sort of discerning where we need to go, what's important, how you keep the team energized and with a sense of purpose, and of course, and then that reality of like, crikey, we're in the economic, the world as we know it has just, the brakes have gone on the economy, and there was a sense of fear, really, around what's this going to be like, and how, is this company going to survive? As any company, our customers going to survive? Is just what's going to happen, and just lots of uncertainty at that point.
Yeah. Thank you. So, Lanre, what have you learnt about yourself and about God over the last few months?
Interesting. I guess about myself, what have I learned? I think that life doesn't have to be so busy, and kind of the world doesn't revolve around me. Things will go on even if I don't do the things I do. And so therefore, learn to put things in perspective.
Okay.
And learn more to see the big picture, and just do my bit for in whatever I'm involved with. So from a work point of view, for instance, I learned to do all that I can do within my power, and let others do the rest. So try not to kind of run from pillar to post. So that's kind of about myself. And about God, I've learned that God is sovereign, because the world went into lockdown with so much uncertainties, and I just learned that, well, regardless of what happens, I can still trust God for my future, for my family's future. I don't have to worry. God wasn't surprised by countries and the world going into lockdown, or about coronavirus. So yeah, just kind of rest in God's sovereignty. And finally, about myself generally, that I still have room to grow and room to develop. I don't know it all. So taking time to read and reflect and just grow as an individual, as a family man, spend more time with the family because I'm at home. So that's kind of me in a nutshell.
Fantastic. Well, thank you both to you, Chris, and also to Lanre. It's been fantastic to get an insight into both of your lives, hear about what you've been learning and contributing. And to those watching, there are other stories like this one, Stories in Lockdown, that you can find on the Above Bar Church website. Bye for now.